Hey guys, and welcome to the Mind of Madness raid guide. Vis and Misericordia are the first boss of this wing. This is a one-phase fight with a few percentage triggered mechanics. You will have to split your raid into two equal groups, so we use the following raid setup. 2 tanks, 2 purifiers, a chloromancer, a fist act, a defiler, a bard, an oracle, and 2 harp archons. The enrage timer is 8 minutes. I will first explain the general fight mechanics, then the unique boss abilities, and in the end I will go over the abilities at 83, 50 and 35%. So the boss has the following mechanics. You will get the reactive ability when you get close to a tower, called balance shift. This will allow you to jump to the opposite tower and it has 15 seconds cooldown. It will also make you immune for 5 seconds to damage. The bosses will gain a stacking debuff called Injustice. This will last 30 seconds and increase the boss's outgoing damage by 5% per stack. This will happen if you have more than 10 players on the tower during the fight. So let's say there's 11 people on the Vis platform. Misericordia will then gain a stack of Injustice every second until the balance is restored. Let's go over the unique boss mechanics. Misericordia. If the HP difference between the two bosses is more than 2%, Misericordia will start casting Libra every 30 seconds. Libra will do different things depending on which boss has the lowest HP. If Vis's HP is lower, her Libra cast will do 2 ticks of AoE damage to the players on the Vis tower. If Misericordia's HP is lower, her Libra will heal her for 3% of her maximum HP. So you want to have Vis's HP 1% lower than Misericordia's at all time. She has a buff called Double Edge. This will increase her damage taken by 10% during the whole fight. She will cast Lachrymose on a random player. You will need to cleanse that. This debuff will make the player do damage to himself every time he attacks. She will cast Light of Innocence. You will need to interrupt that. If you fail to interrupt this, she will heal Vis for 20 million. She will cast Light of Truth on the whole group. At the end of the cast, red AoEs will appear where the players are standing, so place them all on one spot and move after the cast is done. She will cast Merciful Judge. This will do AoE damage and cleanse the player's Declaration of Guilt debuff. More to this one in a minute. Now to Vis's abilities. She will cast a buff on herself every 10 seconds, called Excessive Force. This will increase her outgoing damage by 50%. This needs to be purged. She will cast Snap Judgment. You will need to interrupt that. If you fail to interrupt this, it will one-shot the tank. There will be a red beam rotating clockwards on a tower. This is called Hand of Justice. It will slowly move clockwards 90 degrees at a time, so don't get hit by that. She will cast Declaration of Guilt. This will debuff some players with Declaration of Guilt. If you get this, you will need to change platform to get cleansed by Misericordia's Merciful Judge ability. She will cast Assessment of Guilt. This will cause everyone on a platform with the Declaration of Guilt debuff to deal damage around them. So if people didn't swap platform by then, you will simply explode one another. At 20% she will cast Death Sentence every 15 seconds on a random player. This will kill the player when the debuff expires. You will have to jump to the other platform to survive this. Now let's go over the percentage triggered abilities. At 83% Vis will start casting the Brutality phase. Vis will cast Trial of Brutality. This is a DPS check. She will channel this for 25 seconds and will get 3 buffs. You will have to break the 40 million Trial of Brutality in order to pass. During this she will also be buffed with Union of Power. This will share her damage taken with Misericordia. If you fail the DPS check, she will cast Brutal End. This will simply wipe your raid. If you pass the DPS check, she will start casting Cold Weak for 12 seconds. During this cast you need to keep your raid's HP topped, as this cast will instantly kill anyone that is not. At 50% they will both cast the channel for 1 minute. Misericordia will cast Righteous Flames, and she will radiate damage and apply a stacking debuff called Attrition. Attrition will reduce your outgoing damage by 1% per stack for 30 seconds. This will be cleansed when you use the reactive ability Balance Shift. Vis will cast Vengeful Flames. This will also do AoE damage and apply a stacking debuff every second called Searing Agony. Searing Agony will reduce your healing taken by 1% per stack for 30 seconds. This can also be cleansed by using the Balance Shift reactive. So all you have to do is change platforms at 30 seconds and then change back when the cast is finished. Union of Power will also be up during the time of those casts. At 30% Misericordia will cast Writ of Accusation on a random player and Defense of Character on 2 other players. Writ of Accusation will spawn a big red disc around the player. Anyone inside of it will have a 100% healing reduced debuff. Obviously that player needs to move away from the group. Defense of Character will spawn a small blue disc around those 2 players. Anyone inside of it will get a plus 50% healing received buff. So the 2 players with the blue disc will have to go near the guy with the red disc to solve this. Once they reach 10%, Vis will start casting Order of Execution and Misericordia will start casting Stay of Execution. These casts don't do anything, it just extends the enrage timer. If you don't kill them by the time they finish their cast, they will resume their normal abilities and will start casting Hang the Jury at some point. This is a 1 minute cast and will randomly one-shot players every few seconds. And these are all the mechanics. Again, it sounds very complicated, but this fight is only about keeping the player balance on the platforms and keeping the boss's HP balanced. Well, and of course surviving all the features this fight brings. So let's go do this. Split your raid into 2 equal groups, try to balance the DPS as much as you can. If you use a Defiler, place him on the Misericordia platform to make sure Vis's HP is always lower. The tanks never change sides, so if you're a tank, and especially on the Misericordia tower, get ready for the most boring fight in MMO history. On the Vis side you can pull from the left and try to always follow the beam. And as a tank, make sure that the boss doesn't cross the middle, because he might get stuck on that sand pile. On the Misericordia side, tank the boss here, and have your raid standing on this side. Vis is casting Snap Judgment, interrupt that. Light of Truth, this will spawn the red AoEs. As soon as the cast is over, the group moves to the other side of the boss. The tank can stand in his AoE, just make sure you don't stand in multiple AoEs. Now that the AoEs are gone, the group needs to move back to its starting point. Light of Innocence, interrupt that or she will heal. Lachrymose, get ready to cleanse the guy who gets it. Vis is casting Excessive Force, you will need to purge that buff. Vis is now casting Declaration of Guild. You can see this green debuff, these players need to switch platform. Since the groups are balanced, everyone has a partner. Like for example, both Puris are partners, the Oracle and the Bard, Chlora and Fistact and so on. We sorted the groups accordingly as well to simplify it. So if one of the two changes platform, the other needs to change as well, that's how you keep the balance. Merciful Judge, the players got cleansed from Declaration of Guild and they can move back to their platform. At the same time, Vis is casting Assessment of Guild. If anyone is left with Declaration of Guild on the Vis platform, he will delay AoE damage. A quick note about the Carul alert I shared. You will need to have the player you are swapping with in your focus. The Carul will tell both of you when you have to change sides. And don't forget to keep an eye on the boss's percentage, don't rely on the balance of life bar at the top, because it's very inaccurate. 84%. As soon as Vis hits 83%, the DPS needs to jump to the platform for the Trial of Brutality. Again, that's the DPS check. The Bard, Defiler and 2 healers stay with me on the Misericordia side. Now that all my side's DPS is on the other platform, my boss is getting stacks of Injustice. He will be hitting very hard, so get ready for that. You can see one of the stacks of Trial of Brutality is getting removed. This means you pass the DPS check. As soon as it's over, the players need to go back to their original platforms to restore the balance. This will remove some stacks of Injustice, but not all. The tank will still get hit like a truck, so get ready to use personal cooldowns. Vis is now casting Call the Weak. You need to keep your raid topped off. People that are not close to maximum HP will get one-shotted. Again, Vis is now casting Declaration of Guild. The players with the debuff need to switch platform and keep the balance. So this will keep repeating, I will speed up until 50%. %, Misericordia starts casting Righteous Flames, and Vis starts casting Vengeful Flames. Again, just have everyone but the tank change platforms when the cast is at 30 seconds. And again when it's over. So speeding up to 30%. Misericordia starts casting Writ of Accusation. You can see 2 players getting the blue disc, but no one getting the red one. Because, yeah, features. But if it works, just remember that the guy with the red needs to go away from other players, and the 2 players with the blue needs to go close to that guy so he can be healed. You can see the boss casting Libra. Now again, if Vis's HP is lower than Misericordia, it will do AoE damage to the players on the Vis platform. But she casted Libra even though both were exactly at the same HP. So yeah, features. You can see Vis casting Death Sentence. This will kill you if you don't switch platforms before it expires. When getting close to 10%, try to have the bosses pretty much balanced. 1 or 2% is fine, but try not to have them too far apart. Vis has reached 10%, she starts casting Order of Execution. Misericordia has reached 10%, she starts casting Stay of Execution. We usually save cooldowns for this final cast so we can burn them down. And as you can see, the boss is enraged, but there's nothing to worry as they don't do anything until the cast is finished. Remember, if you don't kill them by the time they're done casting, they will either resume their abilities, or they will start casting Hang the Jury, which will also give you some extra time, but will start one-shotting players every few seconds. And that's it guys, good luck on your kill. As always, I will let the carrel alerts that I have for this fight in the video info, and as always, thanks for watching.
Sure drop guys. Fucking that was.
Oh my god.
We're done.
Yay!
Oh my
Good!
way.
All time.
Fuck you. Fuck it. Fuck shit. Come